Hi, everyone. Welcome to the National Home Visiting Week 2026 January Toolkit Update webinar. Yesterday, we had our webinar and failed to press record for the first couple of slides, so I wanted to be sure to add those back in so that you have a complete presentation. This is our itinerary for the webinar, and we go into quite a bit of information and updates in the new Toolkit release. Janet, Shannon, and I are team members of the Institute, and we are the creators and organizers of National Home Visiting Week. And we are so appreciative that everyone is here and so much interest in National Home Visiting Week. So thank you for being here. We are especially grateful to our planning committee members who are on the screen. They have been working diligently behind the scenes to make this such another success, and we appreciate their help and work in this process. We did receive congressional updates during the webinar. Senator Chuck Grassley and Senator Mark Warner have both agreed to lead the bipartisan Senate resolution once again. They both were heavily involved last year and have signed on once again to do this work for 2026. So we are very appreciative of their bipartisan coming together and seeing this through. We also have work going on for the House side of things. Representative Darren LaHood of Illinois has agreed to lead the House resolution. So he has a team of other representatives as well as our planning committee working to get that moved forward. And we will have more updates as National Home Visiting Week gets closer.
Anything else that we would add about our congressional updates?
I have just one quick addition, Janet, and this is more so around the resolutions and proclamations in general. So everyone in the first version of the toolkit, you received a proclamation that you could receive on your that you could submit on your state level if you wanted to, or you can submit it to local commissioners, etc. And I just wanted to mention that next week is about 90 days out from Home Visiting Week. It's hard to believe that. But if you are planning to submit something locally, typically they ask for at least a 90-day notice. So I just wanted to mention that if you are going to try and have it's some sort of proclamation, then within the next week or two, you probably need to get that submitted. Oh, sorry, I jumped.
It's all right, Malia. I'm thinking great lead in, great segue, because we do want to talk about local resolutions because Malia is correct. That timing is critical. And in some states, it's 120 days out. And so my question is, have you started yet? And make sure, do you know your timeline? Make sure you've checked it. At the governor's office, it may be further out. If you're doing one that is like what we're doing with a Senate and a House, you may have a little bit more time. If you're doing one with your mayor or your city council, depending on the size of your community, that timeline may need to be like right now. But I wanted to pause and ask, are there any successes out there to share? Anybody want to share what they've done so far? People find this very inspiring when you share.
I'll share that I'm happy that we just made an award to get an event coordinator, and we made that award on Monday. So, with the funding supporting this position and support, we'll be able to lift our dreams off the ground.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for sharing, Jeremy. Like I said, what I hear from people across the country is it is so inspiring. So what you may just think about, like this is just everyday work or this is just something I do, other people don't underestimate it because other people find it very inspiring and helps them be motivated and do more things in their community. They know it's possible. So let's talk about the 2026 National Home Visitors of the Year. Nominations closed January 9th. Just somebody take a wild guess how many nominations we received. You can write it in the chat. You can come off mute.
100.
More than
More,
100.
Linda, but that was a very good guess. Lisa, what did you say?
More than 100.
Yes,
I
more
was
than
going to
100.
say like 143.
Okay, 143. We're getting closer. Anybody else
In
want to
the
take another?
chat, there's several thousand. We didn't get it
Oh,
several thousand, but it felt like it.
it did, especially trying to do that first review. So we
I know at
received,
least one had some inside intel from a meeting earlier today, Janet. So
Yeah,
oh,
I saw that.
she knows who I'm talking to.
okay. Well, I will tell you that we received 179 nominations. Joey asked me, how many did you get last year? And I said, it was less than 50. I want to say it was 44, maybe 40, right around there. And not all of those were complete. So it was a much smaller pool to choose from. And another question is, where do how many states did we receive nominations from? And some are tribal, but I looked at their state. So if you submitted a tribal nomination, I counted it in the state category, and I will do a better job of that next year of tracking that. I did not see any that were territorial, but we received nominations from, let's see, I'm going to make sure I get this number right. So I'm looking at my notes here, from 39 states. 39 states, 179.
That's great.
It is great, but you all, you made our work super hard because I said I always take the first look. And, if the application's not complete, that's easy. It's pretty easy to whittle it down. It was not easy. In fact, I gave up at 27. So I had it whittled down to 27 from 179 and thought I give up. I cannot get this further. So I have the planning committee and team members helping to whittle that down. And so right now we're in the process of ranking. And then with the ranks, we'll add that up. We'll do it by the numbers and we'll select our 5. The next step when we select those 5 is to reach out to the 5 to make sure, number one, that even though they signed a consent, do you want to do this? And to make sure that they're still home visitors. Our field has a lot of issues with turnover. So we don't want to honor somebody that's not still a home visitor or they're not going to be by April 20th through the 24th. So we make that check. And then we don't make a big public announcement quite yet. Then what we do is we also inform, it's like a soft inform, the model developer of the model they represent or the state entity that they may represent or the local. We try to let people know so that they can also support and gear up. I did get in a little trouble last year from an organization that said,
Well, I didn't know.
why didn't you let us know?
Where's yours come in?
So
Okay.
anyway, I want you to know that kind of that process that we go through.
Well, that's we said it. Okay.
Sorry, can
I
we mute?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm trying to catch them, but everyone just make
Yeah.
sure I'm mute.
Yes, just make sure you're on mute. Anyway, so that's kind of the process we go through. So we'll be making those decisions and contacting people the first part of February, because you may think, wow, that's way in advance. There's a lot of work to be done between that first part of February and April. We do video interviews with each one of our candidates so that we're ready to announce. And then the week of, we make an announcement, one for each day of that week. And it's always really special. I know the models have been great supporters in trying to align other activities that particular day. I'm hoping this year we can do more of like an outreach from like maybe the CEO of that model to that home visitor, congratulating them personally, that we can do some things like that. Those are things that they mean so much and they really don't cost anything to be able to do. So any questions about the Home Visitor of the Year nominations and where that process is at? Is there anything coming in on the chat, Joey?
No questions.
Okay.
People
Okay.
saying it's amazing and exciting.
I would tell you, I've been doing this work for a long time and I can get a little crusty. I'm just admitting it. when you've been around the block a few times, you can get a little crusty. And I've seen and I've heard a lot of different things. And when I was reading through those, and I start with the family section, what do the families say about their home visitor? Joey already knows this, but I cried. I was like, and it wasn't just one. It was one after another. And it's like, I know that home visiting has can move mountains, and that's what I'm seeing. I mean, I'm hearing that. I'm like, this is so powerful. It is so powerful. And I'm so excited to be able to share it, that other people outside of our field will see the hard work and the amazing work that you do. So next up, I'm sorry, I've got a lot of slides in a row. We had some the Verizon internet outage on the East Coast changed our plans a little bit on who was doing what slides. So you're hearing way too much from me. And that was like just happened at noon today. So we do have a corporate sponsor. Molina Healthcare, once again, has stepped up and they're providing us a corporate sponsorship that will give us a gift package to our 5 home visitors. We do try to get that mailed out at the, like first to second week of April, so they have it in plenty of time for that actual week. The gift package is fun. It'll even be better this year, so we have a little bit more money to spend. But if you are not a corporate sponsor, but you're an organization that you're like, well, we could put something in that gift box. We could give a voucher for a training that we offer. Just let us know, because we're happy to add that kind of in-kind type of support into that gift package. So let us know about that. I think they're fun for the home visitors to get and open up and get to see all the wonderful goodies that are included. I think I switch it over to you now, Joey.
Yeah, thank you, Janet. You can catch your breath now. Hi, everyone. I'm Joey Coakley Beck. I'm the creative director here at the Institute. And I just want to say thank you for being here and thank you for wanting to be a part of National Home Visiting Week. We are diligently working behind the scenes, so it's nice to see the community coming together to join us and celebrate home visiting, and not just during one week in April. I have put a link in the chat, but hopefully you all are familiar with our website and familiar with the toolkit. But we developed the toolkit to help you navigate taking part in National Home Visiting Week. The toolkit is already full of tips and ideas, but we've just updated it with even more in it, more ideas and tools to help you, your program, and your team celebrate home visiting. National Home Visiting Week takes place all across the country, and last year, our very first year, it ended up being a tremendous event. So this year, we're on track to be even just as big, if not bigger. Back in November, we introduced an initial toolkit to help you get started, and we have updated it with even more materials and tools so that you can take part. It is available to download as a PDF document. It is on our website, and we have also developed it into web pages on our website. And I have the link. There's the QR code you could scan to get to it, but you can easily find it. Our website is theinstitutefsp.org, and you can find everything you need there to get started. Janet, if you want to go to the next slide. The first thing I'd like to spotlight that is new in this release is the social media. We've added graphics you can utilize on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you are socially. These can also be used in your newsletters and emails and on your website. The graphics can easily be used as is, or they can be used as inspiration for your own ideas. Tailor them to your own marketing efforts, add your logos, your photos, however you'd like. Logos and icons have also been provided in the toolkit, along with the links to Canva files if you need those. So please use them. This is essentially free marketing materials that anyone can use. Brand recognition helps with being seen and showing the world all the great work we are doing, and especially during National Home Visiting Week. So please use these materials, use them, tailor them, personalize them to your own programs. These can be used as they are or as inspiration for coming up with your own ideas. I'm going to keep going unless anyone has any questions or anything. We can keep going.
Joey, I do have
Yes.
one
Yep,
question.
go ahead.
May I confirm if the families depicted were generated by AI?
These are stock photos within Canva. So they're like Adobe stock photos,
Okay,
that sort
thank
of thing.
you.
They are not AI.
Okay,
I do not like AI. So no, they're
okay,
stock
thank you.
photography. And you can use those, or you can use this as inspiration with your own photos of your own families or team members. Really just whatever. It's just kind of to help give you some direction. Um, The next slide, we're talking about hashtags. We've included hashtags to use. Hashtags are keywords or phrases preceded by the hashtag symbol, which I think most of you know that. They're used on social media to categorize content, increase its discoverability, and connect users to broader conversations on specific topics. So if you use hashtags, interested people or businesses will find you. Please use these so you can be seen outside of your regular followers. With constantly changing rules on social platforms, even your own followers don't always see your own posts. This is how we will see you and how others can see you and your posts, and how we can all find them and interact during National Home Visiting Week and, at any other time, really. Hashtags are an easy way to search for all things home visiting and home visiting week. Last year, the hashtag National Home Visiting Week had over 1 billion uses online. I checked it multiple times. I saw the number and I'm like, that can't be right. I went back in later. It is over 1 billion uses National Home Visiting Week. So if you use hashtags, your posts go even further than you can imagine. Also, please be sure you're using the correct name of the event. The event is National Home Visiting Week. We saw variations of this used last year, and it just doesn't get the same traction and recognition and basically just gets lost in the mix. So, just a little note to please make sure you're using National Home Visiting Week. And then always be sure to tag the Institute. We're Institute FSP on everything. So please tag us anytime, and especially during National Home Visiting Week, so that we can share and like and interact with your posts. Last year, I personally was online during National Home Visiting Week, which seemed 24/7. I did sleep a little bit. Um, and liking what I could keep up with. But it was so much fun seeing all the action and recognition during the week or during that week and leading up to it. So if you don't tag us and if you don't use the hashtags, it can be hard to find or even see your posts and all the hard work that you're doing. So it's kind of a community thing, and that's how another way that we can all work together to get the word out about home visiting. Does anyone have any questions about?
I don't have a question, Joey, but
Okay.
I just wanted to emphasize the impact piece.
Yeah.
So Joey's right. Her and I were both on social media 24/7 that week. And I said I felt like a teenager. And keep in mind, I am a boomer, a baby boomer. So like the use of hashtags, that's like you're talking a different language for me. But that week, I really got it. It was like I am seeing things because I'm searching different words to find out. But we want to be able to measure the impact because we turn around and we put together an impact statement about like over 1 billion uses of National Home Visiting Week. But we share that with our corporate sponsors. We share that to attract more corporate sponsors. We share that with the congressional body that supports this. It's really, really important. Without that, you're making us work really hard, and we may not see what you posted and you may get lost in that shuffle of that we don't get to measure the impact of your work in your state, and we want to make sure that we capture it. So
right. And that's how everyone else sees it too. So
yes.
There is a question about which platforms I was monitoring. Last year we only had Facebook and LinkedIn for the Institute at that time. So that's what I was looking at, and personally was just keeping an eye on Instagram. I have added Instagram for the Institute account. So we will also be on Instagram for this year.
Yeah, we did some research analysis last year before National Home Visiting Week of what do home visiting organizations, what platforms do they use? And for home visitors, the primary platform is Facebook. For organizations like to advertise, talk about their organization, it's LinkedIn. So that's just some interesting. That may shift over time, but that is why we emphasized those two platforms last year.
Right. And when you're posting on any platform, it doesn't matter which one, just think about the audience of that. LinkedIn is very businessy, and you're not having families and those type of audience like on LinkedIn. Oh my God, all these names and the Institute. LinkedIn is, very businessy, for example. So just think about, tailor your post to that in your message. I do some on LinkedIn for the Institute, and last year we had almost 1 million reach with just for the Institute stuff. So on the LinkedIn side of things. So when you see where your audience is, that's where you want to kind of amp up what you're putting out there so that they'll see it, or what your message is, tailor it to whoever your audience is. I think families are more, that one information is a Facebook side of thing. I mean, and that could, vary, of course, but that's what I've seen with the Institute and similar organizations, for example. Okay. And then I think, wait, there was one more question. Should we put hashtags in the body of the post or in the comments? I would definitely do it in the post, but they're picking it up as far as the numbers, and they'll find it either way. The comments are, they've said put it in the comment. I think it just always. I think if they're just there, you'll be found. All right. Now, new this year, we have National Home Visiting Week merchandise available through Bonfire. That's a professional online store that works with nonprofits. And this will allow programs and staff the ability to purchase t-shirts, hoodies, and more without the need for large minimums and inventory requirements that a lot of these types of things require you to do. You can use these as incentives, rewards, and ways to celebrate National Home Visiting Week. Also note, just please be sure to order in time for National Home Visiting Week from any site, really. Items like these are usually printed on demand or when they're ordered, and it can take a few weeks to get. But we are working with Bonfire and have just offering it to you to be able to order one or two or 100 or however many you would need. And of course, you can create your own merchandise. Use any of the logos provided in the toolkit. There are plenty of online sources for merchandise, but we hope these items help programs be able to order something like this that otherwise you wouldn't have the needs. And be sure to tag us when you post your photos wearing all of the National Home Visiting Week merchandise. Just make it fun. The QR code is there. I mean, does anyone have any questions? If you wanted to do something and you need help, I mean, you can always reach out to me. The logos, some of the graphics are provided. So if you needed something different, just, reach out. I'm always around. Was there a question? All right. In the new toolkit, we've compiled a list with tons of ideas and examples of how you, your team, and your program can participate in National Home Visiting Week. From easy and free ideas to some that do require a bit more planning and maybe a little budget, you can pull off a special celebration that's meaningful to you and your team, and however you're able to do that. The ideas in the toolkit are examples of what programs pulled together last year and or they're already planning for this year. You just use them as inspiration for your own celebrations and how you can take part. Just a few ideas from the toolkit include taking your team out to lunch, make a quick survey and to get family feedback, and then you can share that with your staff all during National Home Visiting Week. Have a movie afternoon in the office. Do little goodie bags, chair massages, have a spa day. You can decorate the office a day or a few hours away from the office doing something as a team, and maybe you could get local businesses involved. Bring in coffee or baked goods each day. Bring in a catered lunch, gift cards. I mean, there's so many ideas. So there's actually 2 documents in the toolkit and on the website of just so many, just a list of ideas from super easy and free to, okay, you got a little budget. What can we do with it? And also search National Home Visiting Week hashtags. You'll find old posts from last year of what other organizations did, just to kind of inspire you for ideas for this year. But whatever you do, definitely make it meaningful. Say thank you. The point is to show the world what home visiting is and how thankful you are for your team members. National Home Visiting Week is celebrating home visiting and definitely the home visitors who make this field so special. And again, don't forget, everything that you do would make great social media posts and newsletter posts. So, document everything.
Okay.
Those are posts you can do right then. Before I go to the next slide, does anyone have any questions or comments or ideas that they did that they'd like to share? I mean, most of this list that we've included, the 2 lists, are from programs and what they did last year or are doing this year that we know about. All right, I'm going to keep going. So one example in the works for 2026 is what Hawaii is planning. And I'd like to introduce you to Jeremy. Jeremy serves as the home visiting program supervisor for the Hawaii State Department of Health, where he oversees hospital-based screening, early identification, and the implementation of evidence-based home visiting services statewide. He brings more than a decade of experience administrating home visiting systems and McVie initiatives with a focus on program quality, cross-system coordination, and continuous improvement. Jeremy is well underway in the planning for this year's National Home Visiting Week with Hawaii with some exciting ideas. So I'm going to pass it to him and let him tell what he's doing.
Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Janet. Kudos to Janet for your inspiring and work and getting this off the ground. Last year, we were not able to participate as much as we'd like to. So we've been working with our local implementing agencies, our partners, to think about what we would do for 2026. So we knew that we needed to put a budget for the high hopes and dreams that we wanted to make this special. And part of our challenges was bringing people together to celebrate home visiting across models, across programs, across communities. And that is bringing them to Oahu and trying to find a spot near our state capital that we can really feel recognized in that space. So one of our exciting ideas, and this is a little, we copy or uh, take ideas that we see from conferences and Janet and webinars along the way. And so some of this isn't, like our uh, great, our idea that we came up with on our own. But I think there was an American Public Health Association conference where they offered free headshots, professional headshots for members. You just had to wait in line. And I took a little email of myself and sent it, and we approached our partners to see how valuable that would be. And there's a lot of excitement there. So one things that we're looking to do is have a station, but we're going to organize it a little bit more so people are not just waiting in a very long line. We think we can divide it up into like a 15-minute reservation period so that people show up and you do it like one group at a time. But there is some coordination required, and that's where the event coordinator contract comes into play. And then hiring a trusted photographer and then getting the meaningful keepsake back to the home visitor and their family. Some of that's going to take time to get the professional print and get it to the right people. So we need immediate gratification. And so we do also plan on having selfie stations where there's the balloons and the colors and the good backdrop. And we hope to staff that with volunteers that'll just be there with the station. I'll take your camera, your phone, take a picture of you, your group, your friends that you've just made here at our event. And then they can take and share those pictures with whom they want to. And I know that the families, the friends that follow them on their social media will see that. We plan to make the hashtags present in uh, the selfie stations, and then we'll also encourage how we would, the hashtag and share the information that you've provided in the toolkit.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm excited. I wish I could be there. I also need a professional headshot. I need an update, Jeremy.
Kind of
It,
small, kind of secret. I really wanted one too, and I will be in line myself. And once I get it, I will be putting it up on our website and replace this picture that's before you today.
No, it's good.
well, yeah, that would be an expensive airline ticket to fly out for a professional headshot. So I probably should find one a little more local. But I think it's a fantastic idea, and it was something that I had not heard any other state or entity or organization talk about for this year. So I thought, oh, this is a new idea. Let's make sure we share it because it'll spark interest from your colleagues across the country.
I'll
So,
just chip in real quick to address one of the questions in there that's going to save me a lengthy email.
okay.
The budget that we put around it needed to support travel. And I bringing folks in from the neighbor island and asking our providers to just take it out of their budget and support this because we think it's valuable was limiting. And also trying to reimburse travel gets really tricky. So we developed a new concept that we coordinated with them to do a flat rate. So $300 per traveler confirmed that attend, and the agency can then submit a claim or whatever to our vendor to pay a flat $300 to cover the airfare, the ground transportation, parking, and all the things that go into that. I think that's a good estimate for the prices and the comparison and everything that we did, but that keeps it out of their budget, coming out of their budget, and encourages them to participate. It is McVie funds that we use, and we put that into our grant application, clearly stating that it's a celebratory event.
Wonderful. And I would add that National Home Visiting Week we are this year just starting at something new beginning in January. We do have some funding that we're receiving that is McVie funding, it's HRSA funding. to be able to do National Home Visiting Week. It is limited. Like our toolkit that is not involved. But the 5 National Home Visitors of the Year, that is being supported in a limited way, but it is being financially supported with HRSA and McVie funding. HRSA is excited about the public awareness of National Home Visiting Week and the incredible splash that you all helped us make last year. So I, I I know that sometimes we think, oh, you can't use McVie funds. It's very limiting. I think you might have a little bit more leeway than what you realize, and we're happy to have, one-off conversations about that or follow up with an email. I'm happy to do that. Does anybody have any other questions for Jeremy before we move forward? Okay. Thanks, Jeremy. Really appreciate you joining and sharing what you're doing this year. Another new addition to the toolkit, the January release of the toolkit, is we wanted to hear how educators could incorporate National Home Visiting Week into their classroom. I had heard little bits and pieces from some different educators across the country about what they were doing or how they had taken National Home Visiting Week and ran with it. And you know, it's mainly, we're mainly looking at college classrooms, but it could also be high school. Um, but so we asked some of our educators that we knew, could you put together a tip sheet for educators of like real life things of how they could bring National Home Visiting Week into the classroom? These are our potentially future home visitors, or they are potentially future referral sources. They will be in the network of home visiting. That's the training that they're in. So I'd like to introduce Dr. Carrie Hughes Belding. Um, Carrie and I have worked together for a number of years, so forgive me, Carrie, if I don't always say doctor. But Carrie is with Iowa State University, but she evaluates and coaches home visiting programs in early intervention and family support. She focuses on early relational health and nurturing interactions between caregivers and their young children. Carrie's personal story brings awareness of hope and healing for the variety of challenges faced by families. With a research/teaching mentor endorsement in infant mental health, Carrie strives to encourage everyone she encounters and helps you to do the same through Sarana Consulting and Heart of Home Visiting. So, Carrie.
Thanks, Janet. Yeah,
Yes.
it's a mouthful of a bio. Wow. Thanks for having me here. It was actually great to be asked to put together this tip sheet and work with some of my other colleagues, Gina Cook and Ann Plaguey, to kind of think about what we do in the classroom. We do research, as Janet said, and evaluation, and also training for both pre-service and in-service through our Heart of Home Visiting. One of the things that we've learned over decades of research and also in our training, we ask current home visitors, like, how did you get here? How did you find this position? And what we've learned is that home visiting is, as you probably all know, a found field. Most home visitors don't go into the university setting thinking I'm going to be an early childhood home visitor. A lot of them don't even know the field exists when they come into the university. And so one of the things that we've been really intentional about is figuring out how to introduce them earlier in their college preparation, or as Janet mentioned before, even in high school, so that they understand what these different types of roles are, whether it's early intervention home visiting or family support or child welfare home visiting. There's a variety of ways that, as you know, people can come into this field. So this tip sheet was a combined effort of things that we've done in our courses before, having different kinds of classroom activities, bringing in guest speakers, whether it's a family member or a home visitor or supervisor, even a state lead like Janet coming in and talking to our students. We also have a variety of videos that are out even on YouTube that can talk about either home visiting specifically from the different models that you have, the websites, or also from different videos that show families that are dealing with significant challenges, and then you can develop some conversations around that. In the toolkit, we have some discussion starter ideas and those kinds of things as well. And then probably one of the, I would say, most impactful types of practices would have to do with being open to having either a tour, connecting students with current practitioners in the field, having them visit your agency. I know a lot of you are officed in different ways, but giving them a real opportunity to see what it's like in the day of the life of a home visitor is really powerful for students. Any practica or internship experiences that can be made available. I know those can be a little bit tricky, but we find that once students who are in the scope of family support, or they come into a human services related degree or an early childhood related degree, once they understand what home visiting can be, they get really excited about it. So we want to make sure that we're bringing those experiences into the classroom as early as possible, so that they can see what that's all about. And so for all of you who are out there in the field doing the work and working with the models and agencies, any openness to collaboration with your local educators is really, really helpful. Do you have any questions or anything for me?
I just have a quick little story to share, Carrie. I
Sure.
was on a panel on a state in the East Coast. It was a congressional panel for their state legislators that were looking at expanding home visiting. And on the panel with me was the dean for the School of Nursing.
Mm,
And we both were sharing, we were talking about pipeline issues and the lack of a workforce in some cases, especially in nursing. And she said, we don't have any placements for practicums with home visiting. We've tried and we have not been successful at getting any. When I heard that, I was like, we need to do a better job on the home visiting side of reaching out to our universities and our colleges and our community colleges to say, we're here. Now, I realize as a former supervisor, having a practicum student is not always easy. It's not necessarily like a reduction in your workload. It's an addition to your workload. And, if you develop a relationship, like Carrie, you and I had this relationship of where I'm like, I can't take anybody that's going to be high maintenance. It's
right,
just like,
right,
I need low maintenance. I need a self starter. That's what I need. And Carrie would do her best to find somebody that matched with what my needs were on workload at the time. But
right,
when we look at some of our students that we've had worked with in the past, Carrie, they are all over the Midwest and they are doing terrific
right.
things. So I mean, it's
Absolutely. We can identify, right? Like it's not hard for a university instructor to be able to identify a good match of a
mhm,
student, especially if they've been in the program a year or two. By the time they get to be that sophomore, junior level student, which is when they're going to be doing more of those practicum placements, we can usually tell if this is going to be a good fit or not. And so the more of a collaboration you have with those faculty members, they can really help you find someone. And I think I've talked to several home visitors who have taken practicum students. Um, it really gives them an opportunity to also grow in their leadership and coaching skills. So it is a way to value those home visitors for their expertise. I'm thinking of one in particular, Janet, that we've worked with for a long time, who I would put any student in with, and it really develops their skills as well. So it can be a win-win, and it needs to be intentional.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
and again, I think recognizing that it does take some work
Mhm.
and organizations sometimes have different policies.
You
And
do.
so if a practicum is not within your organizational policies. Think about like reaching out. So, like reaching out to somebody like Carrie to say, hey, I'd like to come to your class and visit to talk about home visiting. Can we work that in sometime this year? And even better when you have like real life home visitors, not somebody like me. even better to have somebody that's doing this work day in and day out, that can
Absolutely.
that can share the good and the things that are challenging about being a home visitor.
Mhm.
And there are other things. So maybe they don't, you can do that, or maybe it's they really want to sometime that week they really want to help out, and maybe you have like you have almost every home visiting program has toys and equipment. And maybe it's coming in and organizing that, of going through, sanitizing, organizing it. That's
Mhm.
not interaction with clients, but it's interaction with you all, and it is helping you.
Mhm.
So look at things like that if your organization policies are really pretty strict and tight.
And Janet, can I add one other thing real quick?
Yeah,
Sorry to go off script a little bit, but I just text Gina and said, hey, should we throw in a free online course from Heart of Home Visiting for your winners for National Home Visiting Week? So we would like to do that. So put
cool.
us on your list.
Okay, cool. That is wonderful. That's exactly what I'm looking for
Yeah,
on
when you said
what
that,
we
I was
can put
like, we could
together.
probably do that. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
wonderful.
good deal.
Were there any questions that came in on the chat, or anybody that wants to come off mute and ask Carrie a question about how they can
Oh,
work
thank you.
work
There's a
with?
video in there. Thank you, Karen. I
Okay.
appreciate that. We're always looking for some good videos that we can use in our courses. So I appreciate that link.
Okay. Try to give people enough time to come off mute, because I don't know about you all, but sometimes my motor skills, there's a little delay in moving my hand to the mouse and going and looking at where my mute button is and clicking it if I wanted to come off mute, or I'm typing and I'm a little slow typist, so it takes a while for it to pop up in the chat. So I don't want to cut anybody off. So we have this time built in though for some questions and answers. Do we have any people that are like, they're like a Joey? They're the communications people that have questions about the format of any of the social media, the templates that we put together? Because we fielded a lot of questions last year about, can you give it to us in a different format? And that's not my thing, so I won't even be able to say what they asked, but it was, can we put it in a different format? Any questions from any of those folks?
Question. I think one of the people on our team had asked last year if there was some way to create a background for when you're in Zoom meetings or Teams meetings that would say home visiting week or something like that. Or
We can certainly do that. I know Joey loves to do that. I seldom use those backgrounds, which disappoints her greatly because my hair is too big and it cuts off my hair. But Joey is very good at that. I'll let Joey answer it.
Yeah, I
And
can. I mean, it's all it is a JPEG, and you can create anything really and use it as a background. But I can create some um, that we have. But of course, anyone that's capable of doing that, you can use any of the materials to create your own. But I can create some, and I'll throw them on the website.
okay. Thank you, Joey.
Of
thank
course.
you.
And anything else, we had our poster last year that had like the 9 blocks or whatever with the quotes in it. And someone wanted those individually for something. And I love graphic design and all of the nerdy that stuff. And I do it all in my sleep. So it's no time that it takes me to create something if you think of something you need or to me it's really easy to do. So just yell anytime.
Yeah, I like how you said, oh, those backgrounds. This is just JPEG. And I'm
Yeah, it's
thinking, it's a
I've already
big deal
created
to
them. No,
for some of us, Joey, it's a big deal.
I
It
know.
is it
Well,
is
no,
not
and
an easy thing.
that's not
So
none of you all, that's not your job.
So we love you and thank you for doing these things that make us look smarter than we are about social media. I'll speak for myself. Joey's the one that makes me look better than what I am.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, other questions or things that you were like, I really wanted this and I didn't see it.
I have a question. Hey, you guys, this is Brooke. Um, and feel free to say absolutely not. That is unacceptable. I am not opposed. But I'm in a bit of a spot where we have a really challenging time in our agency. It's a really large agency. And if I am not linking directly to a state or federal resource, I have a hard time getting those resources approved or through. Um, and so I'm wondering, I know that Institute at one point in time, if I'm recalling my threads correctly, was funded with McV or some type of federal funding sources. Is there any way that there could be some like we are working an angle where we can promote National Home Visiting Week. We haven't been able to in the past. We're working an angle where we can. I want to be able to jump on the bandwagon and help y'all get your numbers and try to adhere to the same look and feel. But like, I don't know that I'm going to be able to leverage a lot of the resources if they are like if they have like institute branding, insignia, et cetera, right? And
Okay.
so is there any non-branded resources that y'all are putting out? Um,
Anything
I
that we
don't know
have,
that that's an avenue that y'all even want to go down, or a way that
it's
you could put like a funded by this project, or something along those lines where I can have some type of grounding in this really large institution to say, look here, this is why we should be able to use it and try to cut through some of that red tape.
okay. Let's, I want to work on this, but I'm not sure I'm going to solve it in the next 2 minutes.
Of
But
course.
yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I do think that we can solve some of it. You are also always welcome to take our stuff and debrand it. Doesn't make me thrilled, but you are
Okay.
welcome to do that. You
I
can
don't
take
want to do that. I know, and I don't
it's
want to do that. You guys have put a lot of work into it, and I want to give credit where credit's due. And so I'm like, how, and maybe Janet, this is a way maybe I give you my email, maybe we have a conversation offline and we
yeah,
figure out some next steps.
that
Okay.
that's yeah,
I just want to be fully transparent and be like, how do we jump on this bandwagon and get y'all numbers and help support this effort? Because I've got a little bit of momentum and I don't want to lose it.
yeah,
And I don't want to get
yeah.
it shut down. And I think it's really important. So
Yes.
thank you.
So let's do that. In fact, I'm going to go to because it has communications at Institute. That will take you to Joey. Joey will get it to me. So if you do have questions from today's webinar that you didn't get a chance to answer, or you've got, like Brooke, you've got a little bit of a tricky situation. And the one thing that I have come to realize is if you know one home visiting organization, you know one. It does not mean that it applies across the board. They are all very, very different. You are all in different types of organizations at a state level, local level, and the rules change. So, believe it or not, I had the hardest time with a tiny, tiny little organization last year that was, they were just a little difficult to work with. And I thought, what do you got, like 5 people that work for you? You got really rigid rules. So, it's just let us know, and we will work with you. We'll carry on a conversation offline. We can jump on a Zoom call and try to problem solve with you and figure this out. Okay. And we are at time. So if you have other questions that we didn't get to today, or you have them in the chat and we didn't get a chance to answer them, we'll follow up with those in the chat or reach out to us. And again, you can use that communications at institutefsp.org. It goes to Joey. If it's a question that I can answer, Joey will get that to me. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We are looking forward to do you think we can meet 2 billion tags can we double this year? I think we can. That's going to be my challenge. And I think we can get all 50 states. I am confident of all 50 states, an entity, at least one entity in all 50 states for participating this year. I think it's going to be really exciting. So if we don't have another webinar planned for Toolkit editions, but if something changes, we'll sure let you all know and we'll pull people together again. Again, thank Thank you so much. Bye-bye.